What's up, guys? Just getting ready to do another podcast, and I thought I would just show you because why the fuck not? So again, I'm in my closet. Welcome to my closet. Side note, have you guys listened to Eminem's new album? I'm not I don't want to say I'm not a huge Eminem fan, but it's not like my go-to. I'm not like hardcore, but I love it. I fucking love it. It's really good. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm turning my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to open up my voice memo, got my computer in here, got my little setup, and we're going to do this. I don't even know what episode this is. They all just start to run together at some point. But I hope you guys had a good weekend. It's Sunday. These are the days when I get all my shit done. I have a full plate today. I was in Kansas City this weekend for a team workout, which was badass. Really, this total side note, but surrounding yourself by like-minded individuals literally can change your life. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Okay, so we're going to get started with the podcast. I got my notes. I got my clothes for the sound. I got my hair did. And here we go. Hopefully we're good. You can see me. All I'm going to do is start a voice memo, and we're going to do this. Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the She Prevails podcast. We are back at it, closing. I just hit the close button on my computer. Probably shouldn't be doing that right now. We are back at it, doing another video episode of this. And I'm really doing this not because I want to teach people how to start a podcast, but I just want to tell you, you don't have to start with anything fancy in order to start changing your life or working on your goals or whatever it may be. All you got to do is fucking start. That's really it. So I had a conversation with a friend that I ran into, and he's like, what have you been doing? I feel like you've been doing some different things lately. And I was like, yeah, I fucking have. And so he sat down and we had a conversation, and it really boiled down to, like, he wants to make changes in his life, but he just doesn't know how. And I was like, honestly, the thing that you are missing is you're not putting yourself first. And he was like, what does that mean? And I was like, listen. And so I explained it to him, and he was like, oh my God, you're right. So that's what I want to talk about today, because I know if he had the courage, to come up to me and say, something's missing in my life and I think you may be able to help me. He wasn't asking me like for fitness advice. He wasn't asking me for parenting advice. He was just like, hey, how can I get my shit together? And I was like, hey, I got you. So that's what this episode is about. How to put yourself first. So if you are like him, you're probably like, what the hell does that mean? So I want to tell you kind of where this idea came from. And it goes back to April of 2018. So I turned 29 that year, almost 2 years ago. And I just got to a point in many areas of my life where I felt like it was just give to like literally every area of my life. So I was in a career that I loved. Like, I felt like I was thriving at a level that I had no idea that I was capable of doing that. And that took a lot of my time and my effort, my energy. And I was like, I just loved it. Like, I was, bring it on. Like, let's do it. I didn't care how many hours I had to work. I didn't care. It was just on my mind all the time, all day, every day. I'm also a mom, obviously. So I was giving a lot of my attention to her. I became debt-free in February of 2018. So this was just a couple months after that. So my goal was to save up and buy a car with cash. So I was like sacrificing everything, like all of my time and my energy and like my money to try to save up and buy a car with cash at that time. I was also like applying to be on the Dave Ramsey show like every fucking hour of every day. That's not an exaggeration. And I was also in a relationship that was really going downhill quickly. I had a very strong desire to like develop personally. So I was going to counseling and I was reading nonstop, like any and every type of self-help or like leadership or personal development book. And I was just doing everything. Pretty much everything you could think of, I was doing. And what I realized was, like, I was doing them, and I was doing them what I thought was well, but, like, something was missing. And I started paying attention to, like, the version of myself that I was bringing to work. And yes, I was excelling, but I feel like it was kind of half-assed. And the version of myself that I was bringing to my daughter, also half-assed. The version of myself towards my relationship, maybe a little less than half-assed. Like, now we're down to a quarter of an ass. Like, all of these areas of my life that I was like, give, I was not showing up the best me. Like, I was almost resentful of these things because I was neglecting myself. And, like, you could argue and say, like, reading and personal development is for you, but at the same time, no, for me, it wasn't. And I just got to that point where I was like, this isn't fair to anybody. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my boss. It's not fair to my kids. It's not fair to my spouse. Like, it's not fair to anyone because I'm showing up with the leftovers at the end of the day instead of, like, a full gas tank, if that makes sense. And so it wasn't until my 29th birthday where I was like, something has to change. And that was the first time that I started working out. I went to a fitness class at the local YMCA, and I literally have not looked back since that day. So coming up on 2 years of, like, full dedication on me. And from that, it's kind of grown into, like, more counseling and spiritual development and things like that. But the first step for me was going to the gym. So putting yourself first does not mean, like, you got to go to the gym every single day. It could be anything. But you have to find that thing that you will do for yourself no matter what. And I know I've talked to you guys about non-negotiables before. And I really use that kind of in context to others, like my daughter. But you got to have non-negotiables for yourself. So it doesn't have to be the gym. It could be reading for you. It could be church. It could be reading the Bible. It could be being in nature. It could be something like your morning routine. But you have to have something to give back to yourself, because what we do in today's society of, like, busy, go, is we do all these things, but we don't do them to the full capacity because we are literally neglecting ourselves, our minds, and our bodies because we put everything else before ourselves and just expect, like, oh, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be good. I got this. No, you don't got this. You may have it a little bit, but there's a whole nother level that you're totally missing because you're not putting yourself first, okay? So then the question is, well, why don't we? Like, if it's that simple of, I go to the gym every day, why are we not putting ourselves first? So the biggest thing is, oh, wait. We're going to edit that out. So now, like, we know that putting ourselves first has to happen. But why? Why does it have to happen? So I kind of touched on this already, but if you have a life that you are maybe unsatisfied with, or you have goals that you want to go after, it takes hard fucking work. There's no sugarcoating that. It takes hard work. So if you are giving 100% of yourself to everyone else and everything else around you, what are you giving to yourself? Okay, so you only got 100%. And let's say you're giving 98. 100 minus 98, I can handle that math. That's 2%. 2% that you are giving to yourself and your goals and your ambitions and your dreams. That is not going to move the needle. Doing 2% a day or 2% a week is not going to move the needle. You've got to start focusing on yourself more and putting yourself first, more so than putting everyone else and their goals and their needs first. So I think about this a lot when it comes to my daughter, because I have felt a lot of shitty feelings lately about my time with her. And here's where I'm at. Here's my mentality. If I don't go to the gym and I have a full day with a full schedule and I get home, most of the time I'm an asshole. Like, most of the time I'm like, okay, well, this is it. This is what we got to do. You need to help me pick up the clothes. You need to help me pick up your toys. We got to make dinner. We got to get the laundry out of the dryer because it's been in there for 2 days. We got dirty dishes. And, like, it is just go, go, go. Complain, complain, complain. And all the kid wants to do is just spend time with their mom. But because I'm so frustrated and because my gas tank is on E and I've given zero energy and effort to myself, I end up taking it out on her. Or maybe you take it out on a spouse. Or maybe you even take it out on your boss or someone close to you. You end up like fueling those frustrations through someone else because you shit on yourself. Like, the only person that you should be mad at is yourself. And not just sitting there like being mad at yourself, but figuring out what the fucking plan is. So you know that you got this problem. And here's another thing. With my daughter, like, yes, my time is limited. I only have her 50% of the time, you guys. 14 days, pretty much, out of an entire month I have with her. And, right, 10 of those days, I am spending more time at work than with my family. And then you got sleep. So if you narrow it down, like, I have a limited number of hours to spend with my child. I do not want to spend that 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day being an asshole parent. I don't want to spend that time feeling frustrated or short-tempered or on edge or like, I want to spend that time. I would rather spend 1 solid hour a day with my kid where I feel happy with where I'm at. Not content, but happy with where I'm at. Happy with the work that I've put in, where I can literally just focus on her. I would rather have that 1 hour a day than 3 hours where I am short-tempered and an asshole and frustrated and like making her do all these things around the house because there's no one else to help me. Like, for me, it's about quality over quantity. I want to have that 1 hour where I bring the best version of myself to the table, or even if it's 30 minutes. I want to have that time where it's the best mom that I can fucking be versus an extended amount of time where I'm like not really there and I'm playing on my phone and I'm not present and I'm like just mentally feeling like shit about myself. So that's why you have to put yourself first. And I've made this statement before and I stand behind it 100%. You have to put yourself before your children. And not everyone's going to agree with that. It's going to piss some people off. But I think that in order for me to be the best mom and to bring the best version of me to the table, I got to take care of me before I can take care of my kid. Because if not, she's getting the leftovers. Same with your spouse. Like, if you're not putting them, or if you're not putting yourself before them, they're getting the leftovers. Like, that sucks. No one wants that. So it's really important for you guys to understand, and for me to remind myself, to choose yourself, to put yourself first, okay? But if it's that simple, why the fuck don't we do it? Like, if it's that easy, why are more of us not putting ourselves first, okay? Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why we don't do this. The first one, being probably the most obvious and common one, is I don't have the time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody's got time to go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's got time to go to the gym at 6 o'clock every single night. Nobody's got time to meal prep every Sunday for 2 to 3 hours. I get it, you guys. I get it on like a whole new level. I totally understand where you're coming from when time is an issue. So go back to my little mini podcast that I did where I talked about time management. You have the time. You have the fucking time. You just have to figure out, like, am I spending my time on the right things? So you say you don't have time to spend with your children, but yet you lay in your bed at night scrolling through social media. Or you say you don't have time to meal prep, yet you've watched the entire first season of You on Netflix, which I really want to watch. Just a side note. I don't have time. That's one thing I don't have time for. Netflix and fucking TV. Okay? So you have the time. You just have to reprioritize where you're currently spending your time and find the time. Make the time. If you want to make a change and you feel like you're a bad parent because you're not showing up for your kid, find the time to put yourself first. If it's that fucking important to you, you will make it happen. But if it's not that important to you, you will continue to make excuses. So find the time. The second reason why we don't do it is we let our feelings get in the way. We let our feelings of guilt and potentially like selfishness take over like the logic behind this. Like, this is a logical thing. You go take care of your mind, body, and soul, you're a better person. Like, that's just what it is. It's a fact. Okay? But we let our feelings get in the way. A feeling of mom guilt, which I have been struggling with so much lately. This week has been better, but last week was like crippling mom guilt, where like questioning everything that I was doing. But we just let guilt get in the way. And a lot of it goes back to like shitty time management. I feel guilty because I'm not managing my time. I'm not focusing on the most important things. I'm not figuring out how to make the most of my day. I'm not planning out when I'm taking my ass to the gym, which means I carry all of that weight home with me, and it's reflecting on how I'm spending my time with my daughter. So, like, I would literally be sitting there with her on the couch, watching a movie, not even on my phone. And my mind is racing. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? What does this next week look like? What are the things that I have to get done? Oh, shit, I really should write that down. Like, literally, my kid is right next to me, and we're spending time together, but my mind is in, like, a million other fucking places because I was failing at time management. So I had to kind of step back and think, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to change this? Because this is not working for me. So we let our feelings get in the way. This kind of piggybacks off of that. We just flat out don't feel like it. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like meal prepping. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. Okay? You have to separate your feelings from what you know you need to be doing. And again, in that mini series that I did on, like, it was on overcoming time, energy, and motivation. So this one goes back to motivation, which, if you didn't listen to that episode, I think motivation is the biggest load of bullshit that I've ever heard, because it's not about motivation. Motivation is a feeling. What it's about and what you're lacking is discipline. So no, like, I did not feel like coming home today and doing my hair and recording a podcast. I don't feel like it. What I feel like doing is going to the grocery store. Like, it's not about doing things when you feel like them. It's doing them anyway. It's doing them regardless. So leaning into, like, self-discipline and doing the shit even when you don't want to do it. That's how you're going to figure out how to put yourself first. Another one, which I love this one, sacrifice. None of us want to sacrifice anything to change our lives. I don't know who says it, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Okay? So you want to get healthy, you want to lose weight, but you're not going to change shit. So do you think the weight is just going to fall off? Do you think that your life is just going to automatically, like, change? No. You have to make changes, and with change usually comes some type of sacrifice. So for me, my biggest sacrifice is time with my daughter. It is. And because I sacrifice that time with her and I use that time on me, I bring a better version of myself to the table. So figuring out one of my favorite quotes or questions from a book called Relentless by Tim Grover is this. What do you have to sacrifice in order to get where you want to be? And what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get where you want to be? And if those don't match up, you don't want it bad enough. So what do you have to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? If they're not the same, if they don't match up, you're not in the game. You are not there yet. You have to go back and figure out your why and look more at like how you're going to get there, because every change and hard work, like going after a goal, comes with some type of sacrifice. Maybe your sacrifice is money. Maybe you have to invest money in something. A big sacrifice is time. Maybe it's convenience. Maybe it's like giving up a hobby in order to pursue a dream. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but everyone has to have some type of sacrifice, which is a choice. It's a choice that you get to make. And if you don't want to make it, then you'll stay where you are. Like, it's that simple. Okay. So this makes me think of every time that I go to the hair salon and you walk in and you're like, oh honey, I am ready for a change. Like, I just went through a breakup and I'm ready for something totally different. But let's not like change the color too much. Maybe just keep it blonde. And let's not like take too much off of the length. Okay. So you're going to walk out the same damn haircut and the same color as what you have right now. You're like, oh, I want to change. I'm ready for a change. But don't change anything. And like you expect a different result. Your hair's going to look the fucking same. It's not like rocket science. You have to sacrifice. You guys, it's very simple. It's challenging because no one wants to do that because we let our feelings get in the way. But it is so simple. Like, what do you have to sacrifice? Take a second and figure that shit out. The last one, as to why we're not putting ourselves first, is fear. Fear also goes back to a lot of like the feelings and the emotion versus logic. But a lot of times we fear the unknown. Like, if I make this change, what's going to happen? And for the most part, we fear like the negative results of, if I make this change, like, here's a great example. Perfect fucking example, okay? I quit drinking. And last year, so I was sober for 7 months in 2019. And then in September, decided, I can handle this. I got this. Nope. Cut that shit off. Side note. But in February of last year, was it last year? 2018. Whenever I made that decision, that's a damn good decision. I needed to make that decision, and I needed to make that years ago, but I didn't have the strength to do it. But my fear was like, people aren't gonna like me anymore. Like, my version of myself when I drink is the center of attention. It is the party, like the typical like party girl. Like, I was fun. I would have good jokes, or so I thought. Like, I would dance. I would do stupid shit, and people just thought it was hilarious. And I had like a gut-wrenching fear of, I'm not going to be that person anymore. Like, for a good reason, but I was so scared that people weren't going to accept me as quiet Shannon, like sober Shannon, when all they've known for literally 16 years is drunk center of attention Shannon. So it was like a paralyzing fear of, I'm not going to be accepted anymore. Like, people aren't going to want to be my friend anymore. People aren't going to like who I am. I don't even know who I am. So it was like this overwhelming fear of like, oh my God, like what could happen? I didn't know. And so that was a huge fear for me in like the sobriety decision. But this could even play into like you going to the gym. All right, let's just say you're 50 pounds overweight and you walk into that gym. Probably the number one fear you have is judgment. Judgment of people looking at you like, What is this fat person doing here? And I know that's harsh, but like, I'm sure you think that. You have that judgment of like, oh my God, these people are like, I'm fat, why am I at the gym? Instead of thinking, I'm going to go find friends that encourage me and lift me up and help me change my life. Like, we think the worst and we fear the worst, and for the most part, we're fearing the unknown. We're fearing things that literally don't even exist in any place other than your mind. But fear has a way of paralyzing us to the point where we won't make those changes and we won't put ourselves first, which is going to keep us exactly where we're at in this moment. This could be something for yourself. This could be something for your business. This could be something for your family. Like, whatever decision you are making or trying to make to propel you to the next level or to start going after a goal, if you have fear of the unknown or even fear of failure, you got to cut that shit out right now. Because one thing I can guarantee you on any journey to bettering your life or making a change is you will fucking fail. That is 100% guaranteed. You just have to pick up and keep going. And like, it sounds so cliche, but literally every failure, you learn something. You learn. So, and if you never put yourself out there, you're never going to learn. You're never going to get better. You're never going to try. So don't be afraid to fail, and just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything. Just fucking do it. Just do it. Which brings me to how. The how. Like, how do we choose ourselves? How do we put ourselves first? Okay? It's very simple. You make a plan and you fucking execute. Like, there's no other way to put it. You make a plan of this is what I'm going to do, and you fucking do it. That's it. You have to figure out, what does it look like for me to put myself first? Is it going to the gym? If it is, great. When are you going to go to the gym? How long are you going to be there? What are you going to do when you're there? Are you going to hire a personal trainer? You got to figure that shit out. Okay? If it's reading, great. When are you going to read? How long are you going to read? What are you going to read? Like, you got to figure that stuff out. But all you have to do is figure out your routine and do it. Like, that's it. That's it. And do it without emotion. Do it without, like, feeling guilty. Like, there's nothing to be guilty. There's no reason for you to feel guilty about putting yourself first so you can bring a better version of yourself to the table. If you make a plan, if you have a routine and you try it out and you fail miserably, fine. That does not mean that you get to quit on yourself. That does not mean you're like, oh, I did it. I tried it. That shit just didn't work. Like, I tried getting up at 4 a.m. every day so I go to the gym and it just didn't work. So, sorry. Like, I guess I'm not going to change my life. Like, this is too hard. I can't do it. No, fuck that. You're going to figure out how to make this work. So you make a plan, you try it, you suck at it, change it. Like, you don't have to have like a whole new plan or anything like that, but just make one change. Okay, so maybe you don't get up at 4, maybe you get up at 4:30. Or maybe you get up at 4 and your wife picks the kids up from the school instead of you picking your kids up from school. Like, you can make this work. You can figure this out. You just have to stay committed to it long enough to figure it out. And again, you have to be willing to fail. Like, you have to be prepared to fail. You cannot go into this thinking, I got this in the motherfucking bag. Like, I got this figured out. I'm going to make this work. Nothing is going to go wrong. Everything is going to be perfect. And I'm going to lose all the weight. I'm going to build my business. I'm going to do this and do that. No, it does not work like that. Oh, I wish I had. Oh, you guys, I wish I had like a whiteboard that I could show you right now. Because just imagine a whiteboard, a blank, clean slate whiteboard. And you take your Sharpie or your whiteboard, whatever it is, your fucking marker. You take your marker and you write out your plan, and your plan looks beautiful and like perfect straight lines, okay? Then imagine taking that same marker and going up and scribbling all over the fucking page and like messing everything up that you just planned. And then you take a step back and you realize that is what growth looks like. That is what change looks like. It is you make a plan and it goes wrong. Like that is just part of it. But then guess what? The beauty of the dry erase board is you erase that shit and you start over. You erase it and you make a new plan. But it will never go exactly the way that you thought. Or maybe it goes better than what you thought. And maybe you need a more challenging plan. Maybe you need a more aggressive plan. But literally, to me, in my mind, the growth that I have experienced over the past 3.5 years now literally looks like a whiteboard covered in a fucking scribble with probably multiple different colors. Like there's nothing clean or beautiful or like perfect about this journey to changing my life. And literally like every day, I'm changing my plan. I'm changing the way that I'm doing things because I'm learning. And I'm learning because I try things. Like this fucking podcast right now. I'm sitting in my closet, you guys. I mean, you can't get much worse than that. But I feel like there are people that reach out to me that say, your podcast is changing the way that I look at things. Your podcast is helping me with my business. Your podcast is helping me get my ass to the gym every day. Great. Then I don't give a fuck if I'm in my closet or if I'm in Gary Vee's podcast studio, which would be awesome, by the way. All you have to do is just try it. All you have to do is just come up with a plan and execute on the plan. And if it doesn't work, fine, you change it. If it works, great, do more. But in order to change your life, in order to reach your goals, you've got to put you first. At some point, you are going to run out of gas, you're going to run out of steam, and you're going to fucking crash, and you're going to crash hard. And you're going to look up and you're going to realize I've neglected myself. I've neglected my child. I've neglected my spouse. I've neglected my friends, my family, my job, my spiritual health. I've neglected my finances. I've neglected everything in my life because I'm just trying to do too much for everyone except me. And once you have the ability and the strength to put yourself first, you will start to give 100% to every area of your life because you know that you are taken care of. I know that I'm the best version of myself if I walk my ass into that gym every day and put myself first for an hour, 1 hour. And then I can be the best mom. Then I can be a good employee. Then I can be the best business owner, the best entrepreneur, the best podcaster, the best friend, the best daughter, the best sister. I can do all of those things because I know that I'm taking care of me. So there are tons of obstacles that stand in the way of you putting yourself first. And trust me, you guys, I get it. I totally get it. But you have to find your strength to overcome those obstacles and to figure out a way to put yourself first. When you put yourself first, you are setting yourself up for success to prevail over any other obstacle that you may face in your life. So you get to choose. Are you going to let these obstacles stop you? Or are you going to prevail? I will talk to you guys in my next episode. Done. The shit's done. Okay. If you guys like watching this, fucking great. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen on Spotify, iTunes, and on my website. And if you know anyone that you feel like is just like give and not taking care of themselves, share this with them. Maybe it'll change their life. Maybe it'll change the trajectory of their life. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.